Previously on High Scores, High Stakes.
Episode 6, Season 2 of High Scores, High Stakes.
Lads, I have no idea about this Trials Fusion gear. I don't know what that means. In fact, I'll go further. I don't care. Just like Neville Chamberlain said, peace in our time.
This episode marks the halfway point of Season 2. What are you playing?
I have touched Cyberpunk because it's got its new DLC release and sort of they've essentially remade the game.
I decided to delve into supermassive games, The Quarry.
I have been playing Resident Evil Remake.
Beautiful.
Still, absolutely, I think it's maybe my third playthrough in the week. It is magnificent. Let's get straight into the internet's newest favorite craze. Name that game.
I hate this section now.
It was Forspoken. Game number 2. You need to redeem yourselves here. This is the.
Let's go.
That's 3 games in a row. I don't think either of you have got. So.
Is it the Callisto Protocol?
It is the Callisto. This week's challenge is subject to yet another last-minute rule change, folks.
Thank you, Konami.
Originally a 2v2 in eFootball 2024. However, once we all logged into our PlayStations and logged into the eFootball 2024 servers, we swiftly realized that 2v2 does not exist with existing teams. We adapt and we overcome, and that's exactly what we've done here. So at the end of last week's episode, there was a draw about who's on whose team. It was me and Sherry versus Cardinal and Tom. And it was me and Sherry were AC and they were going to be Inter Milan. So what we have done is we've kept the essence of the original challenge. And we have played 2 separate games. So what's happened is I have played Tomahawk. And Cardinal, you played Sherry in 2 separate games.
And
but
Tom has scored with a deft finish.
But here we are, first game over, and it's 1-0 to Tom. So in the end, then, it's ended. Cardinal Smith 6.
Was there?
Mr.
He's-
John Sherry.
Get some daunting statistics here.
Mr. John Sherry 3. The final score in those 2 games, the aggregate score was 7-3, which means you two get 3 points. 3 points each. Me and Sherry get 0 points each. And I have some thinking to do about future team-ups with Sherry and the current ones as well. So that means that the updated league table for Season 2 is looking like this at the halfway point, at the official halfway point. Tomahawk is first with 23 points. Cardinal is back up to second with 20 points. I am third with 19 points. So the challenge for next week is a free-for-all in Destruction Allstars.
Now, on to this week's episode.
Hi everyone, and welcome to episode 7 of Season 2 of High Scores, High Stakes, the podcast that thinks it's single track, but it's closer to 989 Studios. I'm your host as always, Mr. Luvva, and with me are my co-hosts.
Hey, Luvva. I don't know what that intro is, but nice. Well done, you. Crushed it, lads.
Nailed it.
Nailed it.
The question is, do
Get
we
a bit
know
here.
who any of those developers are?
I don't know what you're talking about.
Not a clue.
Twisted Metal. It's a Twisted Metal joke.
A Twisted Metal joke.
Twisted
Nice.
Metal joke.
Because we're playing Twisted Metal this
It's
week.
very on brand, that's right, yes.
Exactly.
Is it? Maybe. Who knows?
Exactly.
Oh, we're not.
We may be playing a car combat simulator from a Sony-owned studio, just like Twisted Metal. It ties in. The rationale checks out. Speaking of checking out, Tom looks like he's already checked out. How are you, Tomahawk, man?
I'm good, Luvva. It's been a long day. We're trying to get anyone to commit to this and get an actual record date's always a good old time, isn't it?
It's the joys of having 4 regular hosts is getting
That's
four
it.
busy people together online at the same time is it's proved difficult this week, to be fair.
But we're here and we've a full,
That's it.
I would say, an hour and a half to fill of nonsense about games and nonsense about playing games, if I believe.
And there is a whole heap of nonsense. But before we get into any of the games, we're going to tell people what High Scores High Stakes is. High Scores High Stakes is very simple. It's 4 friends, 4 PlayStations, playing many, many gaming challenges to see who is the best gamer in the podcast and get that coveted top spot in the league. So basically, every week, probably.
Season 1.
Every week, we pick a different PlayStation game and we challenge each other to do certain things in that game. Right now, the league is as follows. Tomahawk, you're in first place with 23 points. Cardinal, you're in second place with 20 points. And you two, just as a quick wee flashback to last week, you two are the only two who got points last week due to Sherry's disgraceful performance in eFootball 2024. I am currently in third place with 19 points, 1 point behind you, Cardinal. And then
I feel you there.
Sherry's bringing up the rear with a majestic 8 points. Sherry,
you
a
love
lot
to
more.
see.
More than they had last season.
That's it.
That's it. That's it. Sherry is not only holding himself back, but last week he held me back as well. I knew I couldn't win my game of football. Keep it tight at the back. Make sure not too many goals conceded. Sherry, on the other hand, no.
Just give up.
Let's just
Took his ball and went home.
let's be 1998's Newcastle United and see if we can score more than the other team. Spoiler alert, he couldn't. He got hammered. Absolutely hammered. And it's cost me. It's cost me big time. I've fallen behind Tom now. I'm 4 points behind him.
This is what happens when we get a team that was meant to happen in season 1.
Mm-hmm.
And we actually, I say work as a team. We did 2 individual 1v1s, but the team spirit was there, I think.
I don't know. I mean, I'll use a lot of things to describe it. Team spirited, team centered. No.
This will all be covered in the previously.
Yes, go back and watch last week's episode. We don't have time to explain it again.
Well, we do. Cardinal doesn't.
eFootball has hurt Luvva.
His soul is leaving his body right now. So let's get him back in this.
Beautiful. I did genuinely think you were going to grudge ship though, just while Luvva poses himself to bring us home essentially.
I'm not saying I'm not.
Ooh.
There will be
Someone
a call
needs
out.
to.
There will be a call out at some point. I just don't know what game. We can't decide what game. But Sherry, I know you're listening to this, mate. It's coming. Once I decide the game I'm going to beat you on, it's going to happen, mate. But anyway, let's get this back on track by telling us, Cardinal, what are you playing?
Hey, well done. So this week I have fixed Cyberpunk and I've been playing it.
Whoa.
Yeah, and it works.
Fantastic.
Yeah, it works great. There was a big patch came out, made things better, and it's really interesting and kind of cool.
I hear it's kind of Bethesda-y.
It's like kind of like any open world RPG.
Mm-hmm.
Like it is very big, open world, do whatever you want, many side quests.
Okay.
Less Skyrim mountains shouting, more bright neon lights, grittiness.
You're really selling this, just so you know. You're doing a great job. All the effort that they put into this for you to play it.
Yeah.
It's just like every other game I've ever played.
That's all right.
What is the actual premise of the game? All I know is that Keanu Reeves is a metal arm, and that's it.
Yeah, Johnny Silverhand,
Big
fantastic,
Johnny
and he's in a rock
Silverhand.
band and stuff. Anyway, Johnny Silverhand's been dead for about 20 years in the game, but his mind has been recorded onto data. All right. But unfortunately, you are just like a regular slum bum. You're either corporal, you're from the street rats, or you're, whatever your background is. And it's 2077. You're just trying to make it in the world, the dark world of Night City. Make something of yourself. and a bit of an accident happens, and the start of Act 1 is Johnny Silverhand's entire consciousness getting uploaded into your mind.
Whoa.
Beautiful.
Wow. That is cyberpunk at its finest.
You get punked cyberly.
So is it Keanu Reeves? Does he talk to you the whole time, or what's the crack?
He's from the point he's in and going, he is very heavily involved throughout. Yeah.
Okay. I thought it was just like a marketing
The-
trope, to be fair, and
he-
then just
no,
they rode on
it's-
those coattails. But
A lot of Keanu, to the point, like at the start, you're like, beep off, Keanu, like leave me alone. I want to play the game, and he's always there because he's in your head, but he like augments himself. You sort of see him, and you drive the car, and you'll turn around, and he'll be there in the passenger seat, but he's not actually there. It's
that's cool.
cool.
That is pretty cool. So it's good?
Yeah.
Cool. How big is it? How big are we talking here? Like 50, 60, 70 hours or what?
If you streamline the main story,
Mhm.
about 30 hours.
Okay.
Even still,
20, 30.
Massive.
like going campaign mission to campaign mission, that's still quite a long story. Because I did Horizon Zero or Forbidden West in 19 hours, and that was basically no side missions. So that's big.
Impressive.
I hated it, but that's not a conversation for right now.
Neither here nor there.
Speaking of what you're playing, Tom, Luvva.
What are you playing?
Well, since it's spooky season, I've set myself the lovely challenge for the month to only play spooky games. Much to Cardinal's love at this. I touched on it last week. I was playing The Quarry, finished The Quarry. I really want to play it again, but it's too fresh in the mind, and I already kind of know what choices not to make. So I feel as if the playthrough again won't be as organic. I'll just be doing it purely for tarot cards and alternate endings.
Yep.
So I went and downloaded Man and Medan. Tick. That's it. Done.
What did you think?
The trade-off was very good. Everything else was a bit bland, if I'm honest. But it looks great. Some of the characters not so good, but I did quite like the twist at the end. But
the twist is excellent.
The twist was very good, but I think there was an awful lot of narrative clues in the world of the game, and you can figure it out yourself quite easily. And then the curator does nudge you in the direction of that. He's very on the nose about his clues.
Yeah, I thought it was very on the nose from practically the opening, like maybe hour. There's a bit where you're going through the Medan ship, but you're passing through toilets.
Yes.
Yeah. I was like, oh, okay, I see what's going on here.
Like, if it wasn't obvious then, by the time I got to the ballroom,
yes,
and then you open up the Manchurian Gold, and I'm like, that's cool. That's quite good. So a lot of my choices were based on not doing things to get the good end, in all accounts. Then, so that was finished. That was relatively quick in terms of that one. So then I loaded up Little Hope.
Good.
I absolutely did not see that end coming.
I don't know. I think Little Hope might be the high point. Certainly one of them in the series. I thought Little Hope was outstanding.
Little Hope has a great narrative. It actually has really good characters.
So good.
Although I did the same thing where there was one character who really I didn't like him in the Cardinals. Cardinals doesn't play this. Cardinals don't mind if I talk about it in the flashbacks. So whenever you play the reincarnated characters, essentially, I made my point to go, he's not surviving. But apparently, every choice I made, he still was like, oh, he's gonna last to the end of the game. And then the twist at the end, I could not have seen that coming at all. It was so good.
I didn't, and it's again, it's like Man of Medan. Once you complete it, and then once I beat it maybe this time last year. I restarted it instantly to play through again, try to get a better ending. And just again, the clues are there from almost the word from the first
Yeah.
curator speech. The clues are there for it. So it was just one of those ones I completely missed it all, and I was
It
like,
was.
the end blew
I
my
thought there
mind.
was a
It's so
lot of
good.
context clues I did miss in Little Hope, to be fair, but
And Will Poulter in it is
unbelievable.
incredible.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
Now, that's done and dusted. I do want to go back to that one. I think that one has a bit more to flesh out than Man and Medan, to be fair.
Man of Medan gets better second playthrough
Okay.
because you know what's going on and you know the twist, and obviously not much changes, but the changes are quite interesting in Man of Medan, because Man of Medan I think is the highest rated of them all. And I was like,
Okay.
when I played it the first time, I was like, really? No, I thought it was really on the nose. There wasn't that many surprises in it, and it was all cliche after cliche, I thought. And in the second playthrough, when I did things differently, I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. It's good.
Well,
Better playthroughs.
yeah, that's it. So I'm thinking, let them sort of stew for a bit, come back to them when everything's a bit forgotten about.
Mhm.
So if I remember correctly, House of Ashes has
Was
just come
next.
on to PlayStation Plus.
Mm-hmm.
So that's going to be geared up next, I think. Anyway, so if I can crack out the dark anthology, we're on to a good spooky season, to be honest.
Yeah, House of Ashes is really, really good as well.
I've heard a lot of good things. There's another
It's
podcast I was
really
listening
good.
to, and they highly recommended it, to be honest.
It's the closest to Until Dawn for tone.
Oh, okay.
The characters are really good. I think it's got Ashley Tisdale in, from High School Musical. It's really it's really good. I really, really enjoyed it. There's bits of Tomb Raider, bits of Uncharted, meet Salem's Lot, and meets Until Dawn.
Oh,
It's just
class.
a really, really good game. I really enjoyed House of Ashes. I thought it was great.
I am looking forward to it, to be fair. It's kind of, I'm not sure if it's just spooky season or if I'm just going to play Supermassive month, to be honest.
There is, at the end of that, there is a world building moment, and I was like, oh my goodness gracious me,
Yes.
this is incredible.
Funny you should say this as well, because there was a clue I found at the end of Little Hope, and it was a flashback of a character that I've never met before, and I went, this is something else entirely. So I think they're going to do a brilliant job of tying all the stories together, or maybe just like, maybe create a universe. Who knows?
Yeah. The end of House of Ashes, it's worth playing just to watch the last cutscene, because the last cutscene is absolutely incredible. It's incredible. What a game.
Beautiful. I think I didn't take nearly as many hints. I think what we discussed last week as well. I took as few hints as I could from the curator, and I thought just play the game organically, see how you go. I think because the games are so short, the storytelling in them is far, far better than I could have expected, really, on them.
Yeah, they've all got really good stories. All the ones that I've played.
Nice.
Which I think so. I just think Supermassive are really, really good at telling horror stories. And it's not an easy people. I think people think horror's a really easy genre. Just put in lots and lots of jump scares. There's a lot more to it, and I think Supermassive just really get that.
But they do it really well with cause and effect as well. And I think, especially kind of with what they do in The Quarry, it's the choices you don't make. And I think it's also as well in Little Hope, it's the choices you don't make that kind of can have a bigger influence, rather than when they go, here's a QTE, you're programmed to want to win the QTE, which I think is fantastic.
I think the only thing that gets me about all of them is, I'm pretty sure it happens in every single game they've ever made, is you'll get like these moments where it's like, for example, shout for help, or don't shout for help. And you go for don't shout for help, and then your character goes quiet. And then because the story dictates that the character has to be joined by someone else, the character will shout anyway. And you're like,
it's not the outcome you think is going to come from your choice. No, I think that's very good. I think a few things like that happen in the story. You're like, don't do anything, and they do something anyway. It's just not how you think it's going to pan out.
And especially when you're playing it like the player, and you know more than they do. And it's like, oh, we don't need to worry about this because this isn't the threat, but the character still, you're just given this arbitrary choice to do one or the other, and no matter, it just seems to be no matter what you do, the story ends up the same place. I find that happens a bit too often in some of the stories.
It's like a forced narrative a little bit, but
Yeah.
I suppose there's only
It has to be.
finite choices they can
Yeah.
do. Yeah, exactly.
It has to
But
be done that way.
enough about me rambling on about the supermassive month I'm gearing up for here at Luvva. Tell us, what are you playing?
I have also been playing supermassive games. I have been playing The
Beautiful.
Quarry, and it is totally because of you last week. The Quarry is exceptional.
Outrageous.
It's exceptionally good.
Cardinal, this is the quietest Cardinal will be this entire episode, so I do apologize.
Yeah,
Oh,
I've been
let's hear
playing
it.
through The Quarry. The Quarry is the first game in donkey's years. Like, I remember keeping me awake because I want to see how it continues.
Oh yeah, you're fully captivated now from like all of our private chats. I'm thinking like, I think we delayed a record because you're like, oh, I'm really tired, and then the next morning you go, I was up till 1:30 playing The Quarry.
Playing The Quarry, and I am playing it from the perspective of, like you said, as the player. It's actually something I've never done before in any of these games. I'm playing it like I know this, and I know this.
You're
So
playing
therefore-
full of context and everything that has been accumulated. You're playing as us, the player, not the character.
not the
It's
characters, and
excellent, isn't it?
It's a really weird way of playing it, but it makes perfect sense because I play Until Dawn and all of them. My first playthrough is always, what would this character do here? Even if it's the wrong choice and you know it's the wrong choice. But this time I was like, no, let's see how this goes. It's actually going great. The story is amazing. You can see what's happening a mile off. But
Oh yeah. But I think what The Quarry does really well is it allows you to do that, play as the character or play as you, the human, because I think what Until Dawn, especially Man of Medan and Little Hope have done, they give you character traits.
Yep.
So they nearly force you to like pick, especially in Until Dawn, where you have like all the ditzy blonde character, and she has all those like tropes of being, dumb blonde, a little bit slutty, and you play into that nearly, whereas The Quarry kind of gives you a bit of free reign on the characters.
Yeah, it tells you nothing about them. They
Yeah.
don't have any traits at all. And they just sort of give you their traits in the opening maybe half an hour before.
And it's how you act on them, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Can I ask where are you in the story?
I am in the swimming hall.
Oh,
I've just pushed.
okay.
Yeah. I've just pushed a major character into the swimming pool. I'm there.
I think I did text you. Yes, you are like what? It's not massively a spoiler, but you will get a humongous just lore dump.
Okay.
And then you'll crack on into more. It's excellent. It just gets better and better from here, I think.
Good. I'm really enjoying it. I think it's brilliant. It's right up there. Like, apart from that, because I can see Cardinal glazing over here, I have been playing.
These guys love their horror games, and I can't say anything because it's October. It's the month for it. What else have you been playing?
I finally got multi-discs working on EmuDeck. So I have been playing through Parasite Eve on the PlayStation 1.
Oh, now we're talking. This is, come on now.
It is.
Cardinals come alive.
I remember playing this on my PlayStation way back when. And
yes.
I thought I got pretty far in it back in the day. Turns out, nope. I got about halfway through.
Is it not quite difficult?
Yes.
I seem to remember it just being really, really hard.
Yeah, it's obtuse in that it doesn't really explain anything to you as the player. So, yeah, the HUD is really minimal. And when you go into a battle, the bottom right-hand corner will have all your vitals, but it doesn't tell you which bar is which. So when I was fighting the first major boss, which is Eve, I died because I wasn't sure if the middle bar or the bottom bar was my HP. Turns out it was the middle bar. But no, it's really good. It's clunky. Your main character walks at a ridiculously slow pace, and it's quite frustrating. It's random battles, but they're not random. So you walk into a room and there'll be a set number of enemies, and if you exit the room and then come back into the room, they'll
Oh, no.
respawn each and every time. So
Oh God.
if you miss an item and you're looking for it, you'll have to all these battles, which is a bit Square Enix, I think. But apart from that, it's really good. The story's actually great, and I did not know. I learned this week. I had no idea that Parasite Eve is a sequel. It is a
Oh.
sequel.
Oh really?
But it is not a sequel to a game. It is a sequel to a 1995 Japanese horror novel.
Of course it is.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, I had no idea. The book is called the same title. Apparently, it's really quite good. So it's just sci-fi horror. But yeah, Parasite Eve, great game. I'm about maybe 6 or 7, 6 hours in. I'm on disc 2,
Okay.
so it seems shorter than I remember anyway.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's really good. And then finally, I have been playing the scariest game of all time, Crazy Taxi.
eFootball. Oh.
Crazy Taxi. Just whenever you bring the kids to like football or whatever, and you're waiting for them, Crazy Taxi is perfect for it. And Crazy Taxi, I am absolutely hooked again. Once more, what a game! What a game! It's amazing. And speaking of amazing games, shall we get into the best game show on the internet right now?
Oh
Name
no.
that
Oh, I
game.
forgot about this part. I actually genuinely thought we were going to go to the bench there.
Oh,
yeah,
no.
all right, might as well
let's do it.
since we're here. You've tricked
Tomahawk.
us.
Tomahawk forgot about it. Cardinal only wishes he could forget about it. Like he's forgotten every game ever made and every game he's ever played.
I panic and just forget what video games are.
There is no forgetting it. And let's just refresh everyone how this game is going this season for Cardinal. The league table's looking like this. Tom, you're top with 6. C-Ran is second in 2. Google is third with 1. And Cardinal, you're fourth with half a point.
Off the bottom. Off the board.
That's it. So,
Incredible.
just to refresh everyone's memory what this is, it's me spending too much time on Amazon customer reviews. I've picked certain PlayStation games, and I have found what I consider to be the best review of that game. I'm going to read that review, and you usually have to guess what that game is. Now, this week, I have softened the curve for Cardinal. I've picked 2 massive games that even he should remember. So the only thing left for me to ask is, Cardinal, Tomahawk, are you ready to name that game?
Yeah. Born ready.
Yeah,
Let's
I mean,
go. Maybe.
yes, with as much vim as Cardinal.
Right. Just remember, I'll read it out. No one shouts out. You'll get one choice. You'll get one answer. If none of you get it right, I'll read you as a clue, and you'll get another guess after that. All right. So, game number 1. One of the standout features of this remastered edition is the improved graphics. The game's visuals have been updated to modern standards, with improved textures and lighting effects. The game's open-world environments now look more detailed and immersive, with improved character models and animations. Another notable feature is the improved gameplay mechanics. The remastered version features smoother and more responsive controls, making it easier for players to navigate the game's open-world environments and engage in its combat. The enhanced audio quality is also a significant improvement. The game's soundtrack and sound effects have been remastered to provide a more immersive and dynamic audio experience. Overall, despite initially poor reception, the game has been updated, and I think it's an excellent remastered version of the classic games. The improvements in graphics, gameplay, and audio quality make it a worthwhile investment for both long-term fans of the series and newcomers like myself looking to experience these classic games. Tomahawk, Cardinal, name that game.
So,
Damn.
I feel that there was a private chat conversation prior to this episode being recorded between Sherry and Luvva. They were
Right.
talking about a particular remastered set of games called Mass Effect.
Oh,
Called-
okay. I can see where you got that from, yep. Tomahawk,
So-
want to make a guess?
Okay, that's a good shot actually. So I was thinking it's long-term series, a remaster, so I can only assume it's a PS1 or PS2 game. My initial shout was going to be Red Dead Redemption 2,
Okay.
but I don't think that's right. But I'm going to lock it in anyway.
I mean, it's certainly a guess. To my knowledge, Red Dead Redemption 2 has never been remastered, but no, it is neither of those two games.
Unless you listen to this podcast in about a year's time, then
I don't think it
Damn,
needs-
Tomahawk's right.
fact check.
Future listeners, tell us if whether or not he's right in the comments. Okay, so clue number 1. This
Could safely say that Cardinal didn't get it right with Mass Effect.
no, it's neither, that's what I said. It's neither of those two games. So this is a collection of remastered PS2 games. Name that game.
Oh.
Grand Theft Auto collection.
Tomahawk.
It is. It is. Give me the point. The point's mine. Tomahawk, just say something. Point's mine.
PS2. Pass. I was gonna say no. It's not like Resident Evil.
1.5 points. 1.5 points.
Cardinal has 1.5 points.
Yeah.
because
Oh,
it is
wowee.
Grand Theft Auto, the definitive edition. Well done.
That's
well done.
3 Vice City San Andreas, was it?
Yeah,
Right,
the Grand Theft
excellent.
Auto 3 trilogy. And
So was it
then-
actually improved?
No.
Of course
Oh.
it's not.
Because
It
I
was
remember
just-
it being like horrendously
Yeah, bad.
critiqued. Yeah.
It was AI upscaled, if memory serves me right.
Oh,
And that's what caused all the issues with it. So this next one, game number 2. This is a good review. We bought this thinking it would be an open world game. It says it in the back of the box, but it's not. It's linear, and you're thrown in partway through a story. Very little makes any sense. This game is supposed to have a great story, but unless you've bought the previous games, you don't know who the characters are or why they're attacking each other. The game. What a review. The gameplay is basically jump and slash and follow a path through the snow. Dull, slow, boring, way overhyped. It's not one of the best games ever. I wish I hadn't spent so much money on this. Cardinal, Tomahawk. Name that game.
jump slash dash through the snow.
And follow a path through the snow. It's got everything you need. Name
Damn
that
it.
game.
My initial guess was going to be Devil May Cry, but there's never once been snow in any of the Devil May Cry
Yeah.
games.
When
there hasn't.
Luvva was talking about why are these people fighting each other, I thought it was going to be like Tekken 8.
I know.
Like, what?
It's the part what makes me laugh about this is it's the part where they say you're thrown in partway through a story, but then later on acknowledge that they know there's previous games in this series. So like, what were they expecting?
Street
It's
Fighter 5.
incredible.
It's just a great piece of literature. Scholars in the future will study this review. So do we
It's
have any
our
guesses?
Modern day Hemingway. That's what this review is.
It is incredible. So is there any
Been
guesses? here?
thrown by the snow.
Snow throw. What about you?
The
Tomahawk, any
snow is
guesses?
throwing me there. No, my initial guess was, but it's no. I have nothing that's comprehensive anyway.
Okay.
Yeah, let's hear the clue.
Clue number 1. This is a Sony first-party title, and it released simultaneously on PS4 and PS5. Name that game.
Oh, and PS5.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. In this, it's the snow, but I feel as if that's just there's like it's a throwaway comment, and that's the only thing that this reviewer could like latch onto.
Possibly. Possibly not. Maybe the snow plays a vital role in the story.
What games are in this? Is it the?
Is it Horizon Forbidden West?
Tomahawk.
Is it Horizon: The Frozen Wilds?
It is neither of those two games. Second clue. It is part of a reimagining of the original series of games.
I hate that. I hate
Name
that
that
clue.
game.
Is it the Final Fantasy VII remake?
It is not that. I don't remember any snow in Final Fantasy VII.
I don't know. I don't remember snow.
Certainly isn't in the remake. None. It's set in a big, steamy, dark city.
A cyberpunk style dystopian. Any
A
guesses? Tomahawk?
reimagining is what's also thrown. Now, again, unless this game came out in the future, is it Metal Gear Solid 1? Like
Nice. Good guess.
It is not that. Okay.
Right.
What clue is this? Clue number 3?
This
The
is
last
clue
one?
3 now, yeah.
The game was written by, but not directed by, Cory Barlog.
I have a counter question. Who's Cory Barlog?
Is it Metro Last Light?
Google's getting another point here.
Cory Barlog is an American video game designer, director, and writer who is the current creative director of video game of Santa Monica Studios. He is best known for his work on the God of War series.
Yeah, bloody God of War Ragnarok, isn't it?
Google gets another point. Yes, it is God of War Ragnarok.
Oh, that means Google's ahead of me again.
Yep, Google's ahead of you by half a point, mate. That's what you get for not knowing who Cory Barlog is. I mean, he's a massive name in video games.
We're a gaming podcast. We're not a very good gaming podcast. You have to remember this, Luvva.
That's why I took out the first clue was made by Sony Santa Monica, but Cardinal's done nothing but gird about me just naming developers. So, I mean, I give him a household name. So, after that round of Name That Game, the league table for that looks like this. Tom, you're top, still on 6 points. C-Ran is on 2 points. Google, holding on steadfast to that third place, also on 2 points. But Cardinal has picked up more points this episode than he has the entire season thus far. 1.5 points with a great shout for GTA the Definitive Edition. Is the comeback on, Cardinal?
You know what? I hope so, but Google has just proven a big threat.
I mean, formidable.
Google
is.
What's formidable. The gap now? 4.5 points?
4.5 points.
4.5. Yeah.
5 weeks left of season 2, so
big 2 points a week, lad.
All it takes is one good week, mate, and you're in trouble.
enough passes and enough random games Cardinal can remember. Trouble is the word.
I haven't told you that.
I just forget all computer games when this challenge comes around. I'll be like, oh, should I play? We're just talking about Ghost of Tsushima. And then come this challenge, I'll be like, I don't know Pac-Man. What's that?
Also,
I also forgot you read 2 games. So I was thinking to myself, Cardinal's only going to get 1 right per week.
Mm-hmm.
So there we are. We've just finished. I've already forgotten how it works. So
would you say you've never felt more confident?
I'm not going to say it out loud, but I'm going to ride on the coattails of my previous weeks.
I mean, I do have to remind you that next week in Name That Game is the strategy game special.
Nice.
It's going to be 2 game franchises Tom's never heard of.
Oh dear.
Civilization.
Command and Conquer.
I think Cardinal should pick the game for the game show we do for next season. It'll be the history and lore of
flags.
I genuinely wanted to do maps of video game worlds, and you had to guess what a video game was from the map, the world map. But I think that would have been actually good, next season maybe.
That's one for the audio listeners, so it is
definitely. Yeah, look at this image, audio podcast listeners.
Close your eyes and imagine you're looking at a game map. Now tell me what that map is. What game? We could take on Headspace. Right, but
anyway.
Speaking of relaxing and playing nice, slow, strategic games, shall we get to our challenge game of this week? The deep and meaningful, highly technical game of Destruction Allstars. I say we get there right now. So this week's challenge game is Destruction Allstars, the classic PlayStation game that launched with the PlayStation 5 and was met with a really, really good reception. The game is from then has just went from strength to strength. The player base has grown exponentially, and the world is a far better place for having it. It is Sony's most successful and most profitable game that they have ever made. It is really quite incredible that it's taken me this long to play this game.
A question.
And this is
Are you course correcting for how bad a review you gave eFootball last week that you're over praising this?
I mean, yes. I mean,
it's a battle royale game at the end of the day. Like, let's not.
I mean, we all know the real story behind Destruction Allstars, and the real story is this: it was a £70 game that had very little game in it.
That blows my mind.
It lost 80% of its player base in 8 days. The game is all but dead. It is a zombie game in which I would say this podcast made up about a third of its player base this last week.
Absolutely.
It is.
That is true.
It isn't well regarded at all. It reviewed middling to poor, and there's not much to it.
Yeah, it is sad.
much
I
to
think
it.
for what we played, I did enjoy even getting the practice in. Even like the sort of offline mode was grand. Like the AI is pretty challenging at times, but the game's very bare bones. And I would love to meet someone who paid full price day one on this game.
John Sherry probably has a tattoo.
Probably.
I think it was definitely a £60 game, but I also something is telling me that it may have been on PlayStation Plus pretty early on in the PlayStation's life. I think it might have been early 2021 it went on PlayStation Plus. So I would dare say most people who are playing that game paid no money for it. If I had paid 60 quid for that game, I would. My feelings of it would be a lot sterner and a lot harder than what they are. I actually quite enjoyed it. I thought it was fun. I mean,
yeah, that's it. No, it was good for what it was. I think arcadey style Wreckham battle royale type game. I mean, it is limited in its own. It's limited by its own want to not bother to make more game modes. But for what it's there, it's very entertaining at least.
Its concept was clearly designed to be this generation's Twisted Metal, let's be honest. Thus, that is the throwback to my joke at the start of the episode, boys. It was clearly meant to be this generation's Twisted Metal. And to be fair to it, I thought it looked really good. It's a good looking game. It's smooth, plays well. The online is robust enough. It's fine. I didn't experience any issues whatsoever. There was no issues, no lag, no spikes. Everything was very, very smooth.
Again, this is very positive. We spent a good hour trying to get into a lobby together because we couldn't join as 4 people.
Yes. Now, there are issues to it. Now, that was going to be one of the first things I said about it is, as a multiplayer-only game, the options for how you enjoy your multiplayer are sorely limited. There is 2 game modes. There is 3 options for that game mode. 2 of those options are locked behind XP requirements, and you cannot choose anything about it other than your character. And there is no descriptions of the characters.
Plus, there's like 3 characters that and then you have to unlock or purchase.
Yeah, and the game did so well that 3 years after launch, the character select screen still has 1 empty square. So that would tell me that someone at Sony's went, we're not doing this anymore. There is still 1 empty square for a character in the character select screen. But there's no options. It doesn't tell you anything about the characters. So it's a hero-based car battling game. It is kind of like Twisted Metal with no guns. So it's kind of like a weird mix between Overwatch and Twisted Metal and Destruction Derby from the PS1 sort of time. Basically, there's 2 game modes. There is Carnage or Mayhem.
Yeah.
Yes.
And there is one called Cardinal. Mayhem is exactly what it sounds. It is a straight up Destruction Derby. Smash into everyone else and get smashed up the least by everyone else. Highest amount of points wins. and the Cardinal is smash up each other. And smashing each other up will give you like cogs.
Cogs,
You
which you then bank into
bank
points.
by
Yeah.
driving into a tornado in the middle of the arena, which destroys your car and throws you back on foot. I thought the game was fine. I mean, I had a lot of fun with it, but after the couple of hours, I think I put 2 hours. I think my game time is 2 hours. I feel like I've seen everything that the game has to offer, and there's very little room for any sort of like strategy or
Oh,
anything like that. It is bare bones. It is very much a field game as a service, and it looks like one. It looks like a game that we're like, we can throw this out with this, and this missing, and we'll get it. But because the players dropped off alarmingly fast, Sony have went, no,
just shelf it. Yeah. Let
we'll
it die.
put it on PlayStation Plus. If that saves it, then maybe. But if it doesn't, it's dead. And get on the Twisted Metal.
I definitely don't think it's gonna be salvaged anytime soon, because I think even whenever we did whatever way we tried to get games together to get all four of us in one server, there's the same people doing the same thing. Like, they're quitting and then restarting, and there was about 16 players, I think 16 players that were consistent in our lobbies,
Yeah.
and we made up 4 of them, to be fair.
Yeah. And it seems to be there's a lot of issues with it. I think the big one for me seems to be finding the game. Obviously, it's 3 years after a game is dead, so it's not going to be easy to find games. So the fact there's still servers is impressive enough. But the games only start when the lobby is full. So you need 12 players for a game to even start. You can't have a partial lobby, because I didn't see a single partial lobby at all.
No.
If someone quits, it closes the lobby. I've seen that. I played a game where someone quit out and the game just threw back to
touches
the main
all out.
menu.
Yeah. It's so strange. So, like, it's even like, yes, Rocket League is immensely more popular, but if someone drops out of Rocket League, there's obviously it just continues until a bot will take over until another player drops into the lobby then. But you'd wonder why there just isn't, I suppose the player base isn't there anymore for that system to be implemented, I suppose.
Yeah, so I actually did a lot of research because I couldn't understand why it wouldn't let you make private lobbies. So I did a lot of research. Why is there no private lobbies? So the developers did an AMA on Reddit years ago, and someone said, why can we not do private lobbies? And the answer was ridiculous. It just shows you the corporate mindset. Basically, you can't have a private lobby because they didn't want people abusing the XP system in it. So they didn't want you farming each other. Like, I mean, at no point did anyone say, well, in private lobbies, you don't gain XP. I mean, that's the solution.
Yeah, just turn it off. Then.
Turn it off.
And
then let people... Your player base would stay with it a bit more if you could play with your friends. But no, that's why. They don't want people farming XP. Then turn it off. Turn the XP off in private games.
Such a strange thing. Like, it's such a strange thing to be worrying about when it's not Call of Duty. Like, and I'm pretty sure that I'm pretty sure there are workarounds for XP farming that they're just not wanting to address.
Yeah, I don't know, unless it's like systematic the whole way through the game, which it probably is. And turn it off isn't a case of hitting a switch. At this point, who cares? Just throw in a private lobby. I mean, and just get people playing it and get.
I still don't understand how 3v3. How is this even a format? Because this is across multiple game platforms now, where 3v3 seems to be the to be the way forward. Whereas I think maybe we're of a generation where it was 4-player everything, or it was in multiples of 2.
Yeah, I'm going to go out on a limb and say that the trios thing started with Rocket League. Rocket League's the first game I really remember where you could have teams of 3, but at least it made sense. It makes sense.
Rocket League still gives you the option of 2 singles, 1-on-1, 3s and 4s, and they're all totally different games. They're like different tactics to be played in there. And
it makes no sense. The game is just a failed experiment, and part of me playing through it was like, this is clearly a Twisted Metal game that they just wanted to make a bit more family friendly. And I really hope they give an our bite of the apple and give them a Twisted Metal title, because the game's fundamentally fine. nothing really wrong with it. It's just there's nothing to it, and that's the biggest
Well,
killer of it.
game designer David Jaffe, known
Yeah,
for creating the Twisted Metal
Twisted Metal.
series,
Mhm.
praised the game for its character roster and gameplay, but criticized its online latency, lack of unlockables, and limited level design. He gave it a rating of 7 out of 10.
Still a
7.
decent rating. Yeah.
7 out of 10.
High scores. High David Jaffe.
David Jaffe. David Jaffe, what a dude. He also designed and created God of War. FYI.
Topical.
Yeah. But anyway, our challenge this week in Destruction Allstars was originally meant to be a free-for-all between the four of us because we were like, yeah, maybe, just jump into a private server. It'll be fine. That's not how it worked out because of all the aforementioned issues with it. What it actually turned out to be was us trying for 45 minutes to get all four players into a lobby. And we tried a whole heap of stuff. We tried creating PlayStation group chats thinking it would, I don't know, somehow read that we're in a group chat and prioritize us into the same server. No, we tried creating a squad, which is limited to 3 players, so that wasn't going to work. So then we tried to pair off with one another and see if we can get into a game. And what it did then was just split us into 2 different lobbies. And then we just decided to fly solo. And by luck, as luck would have it, once we got into the first lobby together, you can just stay in the game. Basically, that's what it was. Unfortunately, then that took away any control we had over what game modes we were playing. So the playlist is Mayhem and Cardinal, and it just alternates between the 2. So this turned out to be us 4 fighting each other for the podcast, and 8 other random internet people also playing the game. I'm presuming not for a podcast, but you never know. There could be,
and we have them right here.
So shall we get to the gameplay before we talk about everything we have to talk about before even getting that far in?
Take us there.
Let's go. So here we are then, the gameplay. So basically what we've done is we have joined a lobby and we are at the behest of the developers. So I think our gameplay here is going to be Carnado, Mayhem, Carnado.
That would be correct.
Yes, and for the first time in this podcast history, our scoring system is not the simplest available scoring system that we have. So originally our idea was take the game's score and just whoever scores the highest. But because it's lobbies with other randomers, we have to then decided to take our discount all the other players and take our positions in each game and then averaging our positions, and that's how we're going to get first, second, third, and fourth. So without any further ado, Tomahawk, I was going to say Cardinal, to have it. If you want to hit the play button, then we can start chatting our way through Destruction Allstars.
That's it. We could start dissecting this. I say a bit of a monster of a game. I mean, it's bare bones of a monster of a game. It has the potential to be a monster of a game. Absolutely.
Yes. Yeah, it could have been something really, really, really good if it was given time from the player base, to be fair. I mean, I don't know what you would want a game developer to do if the game's just not popular, is you can't pump money into it because these games as a service are really expensive to make, really expensive to maintain, because it's just a constant cycle then of updates and development. The development never ends. So this is Carnado. Round 1 is Carnado, which is bump into each other, destroy each other, and then take the gears that you're given from each piece of damage and then driving it into banking it in the tornado in the middle of the arena. If anyone destroys you on your way to banking, then you lose them all. And it should be strategic. There should be some strategy employed here, but the game's just not nuanced enough to allow any sort of tactics. I just, every game mode, I went into the same mentality. Smash people up as much as I possibly can. I mean, I don't know about you.
That's it, yeah. No, even the Carnado one, I kind of went into smash everyone up, and then the screen does prompt you to say you're maxed out on your bits or your gears or whatever it is, and it just kind of tries to nudge you into the middle of the map, which is where your car then gets destroyed. You bank your gears and then you just start again. But I'm looking at Sherry's window and I had the same problem. Every time I banked gears, finding a new vehicle was impossible.
Yeah, so this is the issue. So if your car is on the verge of being smashed, you have a choice. You can allow yourself to be smashed and take a KO, which loses you points, or you can jump out of your car and go get another one. So the cars spawn in on like a timer. So they do, and they appear on the floating platform, so you have to run and jump up to them. They spawn in the same place every time, but because there's so many players, what is it, 12 per lobby?
Yeah.
At any one time in Cardinal, there could be 12 people looking for a car at the same time. 12 cars do not spawn at a time. I think it's like 10. Apart from the start, I think it's a maximum of 10 unless someone calls in their character car. So there are these mechanics in the game, but I find the timer for your character car to be really, really long, regardless of how well you're doing in a game.
Yes, no, I would agree with you there. I think it's principle though it is like maybe Titanfall employs that it's like the more stuff you do, the quicker that gauge will go up, but like you'll naturally just your meter will build and build naturally, but it's the more stuff you do in the middle of the matches is what will prompt that, because I've got my character car pretty quickly.
Yeah, I
but
mean,
then
yeah.
I think,
would agree
though,
with
that
you.
everyone else has one as well, but I don't think we're clued in enough on how to use or employ it.
So your character car has a special skill, which is activated with L1. So the character I was using, her character car had this ability. Once you smash into someone, you take parts of their car, and it forms an armor layer around your car, so you take less damage, which is pretty cool. But I just find that yes, you get more. Your counter counts up quicker. The more damage you do, the more cogs you bank and stuff like that. But I find that the timer was still too slow. The game modes in this are really short. I'm not exactly sure what game time is, but it flies by. And there was many
4 or
many
5
games
minutes, yeah.
And there was many games, and I won a handful of games in against other players, and I could count on one hand the amount of times I got my character car. It's just there's this juxtaposition between the game wanting you to do certain things and build up this meter that builds up quite slow, but then the game's being over really quickly, and it's almost like, what do you want? Do you want people to get these cars, or is there a mode without them and stuff like this? But it's a good game. I enjoy it. It's fun. It is fun. It is just very, very shallow, and there's just not enough there to keep players interested, which would explain the massive cliff face fall at the game.
It's quite good that the game does just kind of put you in it and like let you kind of figure it out. I mean, obviously in the menus it does have all the tutorial options and which wouldn't be the worst thing to give you a quick tutorial menu, but I think we've been burnt in a lot of games where it gives you a forced tutorial which lasts forever. Yeah.
So with this game, it was an update. So when this game was new, the tutorial was forced on you. You had to go through a tutorial to unlock any of the arena modes.
Okay.
So until you did the quick this is how you jump, this is how you drive, this is how you do this, this is how you do that, you couldn't play the game.
That's
now
crazy.
the tutorial's over in about 5 minutes, if even. That is game one done with. Mr. John Sherry won the full game.
Came out storming on that one, to be fair. I think he just he has a thing with these kind of games now. He just can just run with it, I think, and then just kind of falls into the layout of the game quite quickly.
Yeah, but in saying that, Sherry has won it, but you have placed second. Cardinal placed third, and I placed all the way down in sixth. So that means at this particular moment, after game one, our average positions are, well, Sherry first, you second, Cardinal third, and me fourth. So right now, at this particular moment, I am heading for the big fat 0. That's what I'm heading for here. It's an absolute disgrace and an injustice.
But I remember you saying in game chat as well while we were playing this, you were sitting maybe third up until the last 3 or 4 seconds, and it is just I think if you're not paying attention in that last 10 seconds, it can really affect where you sit
Yeah,
in the lobby.
yeah. Now I know I said that during game time. However, when I was editing my gameplay so we can make up this video, that's when I realized just actually how the scoreboard works in the top left-hand corner of the screen. So I played this game. So in the top left-hand corner of every game, it'll be a list of 4 players. And I thought it was the top 4 players. However, what it does is it puts you there and just follows
Locally.
you. Yes,
Yeah.
it's the 3 players around you, 2 above you, 1 below you. That's what threw me. I was like, I don't understand. Do you know what I
Okay.
mean? And that's where the confusion came from with me. It's just my own stupidity, I suppose.
Do you know what though? I would probably back you on that though. I don't think the game maybe makes that as obvious as you think.
hmm
Because I would imagine you're looking at first, second, third. You're not really paying attention to
Yeah.
where you are specifically. You're just looking at who you need to chase down, essentially.
Essentially,
But
yeah, it's a good idea.
I think we did quite a lot of sort of diving into what the game's about, but I don't really think we had a chat about too much about the actual in-game mechanic itself there. But the Carnado format is pretty straightforward. Like, I mean, everyone, I think, look, Sherry was quite consistent in just a few bumps, bank often, but bank little. But I think it's paid
Yeah,
off quite well for him,
that
to be
that that
honest.
was my tactic as well with it was, if I get like there's certain thresholds you get, so it's like 5, 15, 30, 50, 100, and it just when I got to a threshold I was like, okay, that can make a difference, then I'll bank it. But I think the whole way playing through Carnado was fine. It's essentially like a like a capture the flag type scenario, so it is, where you can, you're running with something, someone can take it off of you and take it for themselves. It's kind of capture the flaggy, but the whole way playing through this, you might remember I was going, there's something wrong with this mode, and I don't know what it is. I can't put my finger on it, and I think I put my finger on it. So in mayhem mode, obviously the only game mechanic is destruction and breaking other drivers' cars up. So I found that your cars lasted for quite a significant amount of time in mayhem, whereas in Carnado, and maybe it's just my perception of things, but I felt as if the cars were flimsier and that they weren't as resilient to damage. So you were going through a lot more cars, so you were spending a lot more time running, not picking up points.
Yeah, that makes
And I
sense,
think,
actually.
and it would make sense to me for that to be the case, because obviously you're destroying your car at the end by driving it into the Carnado. But that's the whole way through. I was like, there's something wrong with this. I don't like this mode, and I don't know why, because the game's essentially the exact same as Mayhem, which I really, really enjoyed. And I think it's that. I don't know if it's just me and my perception of things, but I just felt as if your cars weren't as resilient in Carnado, which just made it.
I think the game mode wants you to churn out and be
Yeah.
constantly on the move and constantly changing
Mhm.
cars over. Makes sense, to be fair, but in terms of like damage output or damage, like damage given and damage taken, I can't say I noticed it in game, but
No,
when you sort of talk about it after the fact, you do kind of think, oh, maybe our cars are made of paper, like.
paper. That's just what it felt. And it took me a long time to even think about why it felt off, but it just feels off. This mode felt off. I didn't particularly enjoy Carnado, but here it is what it is.
Yeah,
Right
it's the
now
luck of the draw, really.
maybe it's just because I finished fourth at the end of the game one. And let's hope that I don't finish fourth in the other 2 games, but there's no way to
Let's have
find
a
out.
look.
Let's go to game 2. So this is game 2, mayhem mode. So there's no messing about with picking up gears and putting it in a tornado. This is pure, unadulterated destruction derby. And this
Immediately,
is the game
I
mode.
struggle to get a car.
Yes, that's what I love to hear. My competitors struggling to
It
do
took me
things in it.
it took me like 30 seconds to get it because I must have just been slow on the uptake. Everyone jumped at the same one, and I'm going, oh, missed it, and
Yeah.
yeah, you're playing catch up off the bat, like.
And the thing with the cars in this is it makes a difference. The cars do handle differently and they have different attributes. Now they're completely hidden, and it could be a case of I think this is what it is, but the 4x4s can take more damage, or at least it felt like they could. They were slower. The top speed was lower. The acceleration was lower. But their damage output was ridiculous.
Their handling wasn't great either. So if you like maybe shot a driver and you wanted to circle back to them, trying to like handbrake turn, you're just going back in on yourself, and yeah, it made driving a little bit messy. But if you're in the wee rally cars, you're so nippy. I think your side swipes are a lot stronger than your head-on collision.
Yeah,
but
I think so.
And then you've got like you've got like your Ferrari supercar, which is kind of like in the middle, and then you've got like your big Hummer type vehicle, which obviously is like your heavy, your heavy duty vehicle.
Yeah, I quite like the wee rally cars type thing, not the really small ones, but the slightly larger ones. I thought they were just the trade-off in the damage output compared to its maneuverability, I thought was worth it. Another thing I forgot about here as well, actually, is the arenas. So this is not the same arena as the first game, although they look identical.
Oh, they play kind of the same. It's all the wee hidden details that they put into it that kind of set it apart. Like this one with the bollards kind of just come up and down, and then the propellers. I got caught out so many times, even in practice matches with the propellers.
Yes, so those bollards are a character trait as well. So your characters have a special ability that they can utilize. The character I was, when you got the meter up and pushed L1, she could control the obstacles in the arena. So you could turn them on or off at will. Yeah. So there was a lot of stuff, but the propellers, if you get hit by those massive propellers, it's an instant KO, and you lose quite a lot of points. I don't know how many it is, I can't remember offhand, but you do. Every knockout you concede, you lose time and you lose points. So it's pretty savage that way. Like it's not nice.
I did find as well, it depends on the car, depends on like how you can maneuver past them. So if you're in like the low sports car, you can drive straight underneath them.
Oh.
I sort of noticed this by accident, but or like, you know, you can get like into the corners of them pretty handily. But if you're in like the SUV or the big Hummer, or even in your character specific car, you have to nearly like bank right up the side of the wall to get past them, and it's quite it can be quite difficult. But there's some of them where I found that I was able just to like ghost underneath them.
Oh, that's quite cool. Yeah, you can go around them as well. Obviously, they're only a danger to the flat part of the arena. But no, I like this mode. I like this mode a lot. I like the whole get up of it. You get points for knockouts, you get points for assists. So if you are the last person to hit a car and then someone comes behind you and destroys it, you get points for that. You get points for knocking them into the propellers. You'll get an assist for that as well.
But it's quite good as well. You get heavy, medium, and light damage points as well. So a head-on collision will get you more points than maybe like a nudge in the in the backside. But I think the score system in it's very good. It's very clever, but it's just not as well advertised or well utilized as it could have been, I suppose.
I don't know why players didn't take to this, because there's a lot to like in this game. There is a lot to like. It's just absolutely murdered by a lack of any sort of content and any sort of semblance of post-launch support beyond minor updates to like balancing issues and stuff. Unless when the game released, it was massively unbalanced. But I don't know.
There's another KO for Cardinal then as well. I've noticed he took a bit. Did you notice as well, playing this just in the last 10, how you tend to group into certain sections of the map? Yes. And then just like you can get some serious amount of points by just like spawn a car and then just plow yourself straight into this crowd.
Yep.
I particularly found I was able to get a lot of KOs because there's a lot of people just like in transition looking for vehicles, and you just plow straight into them basically.
Yeah, absolutely. So that is the end of game 2. So game 2, Tomahawk, you have come first out of us 4. So that's quite interesting. Sherry has come second. I have come third. And Cardinal has come 4th.
Yes.
So no movement on anyone except for me and Cardinal. So that means the last game, really.
It's quite. It will essentially be the decider, really. Front.
Yeah, yeah. It's basically between you and Sherry. I don't think there's anything me and Cardinal can do about breaking into the top two here. So it's basically between you and Sherry, and between me and Cardinal. So the league is split into two sort of minor leagues here, and there's only one way to find out how it's going to go. So right now, your average position and Sherry's average position is 1.5. Me and Cardinal's average position is 3.5. So it's 2 draws at the minute. You and Sherry are drawn. Me and Cardinal are drawn. So that means this third game has everything on it.
Absolutely.
So
my biggest regret on this is editing the footage and not putting just one big scoreboard on.
It tells you the positions.
Yeah, it actually would give us a bit more insight into damage dealt, because I found that like even the damage dealt, you could have such a high amount, but you could have probably no KOs to show for it and still be quite far down the leaderboard. So
yeah, I have no idea how this game gets your score. So like you get points. So points is how the leaderboard is structured. But yeah, you get damage points, you get knockouts, you get how many times you've had to respawn, and then you get a thing called recognition, which is a letter, and it seems to be some sort of algorithm that takes the 4 sort of variables and then gives you a score. But nowhere does the game tell you recognition is really important or knockouts are really important. We're playing a game, we know knockouts are important, but is it more important to get knockouts than it is to get a lot of damage? We don't. There's no way of knowing. It's a very, very, very strange scoring system, and it's odd, and it's I don't know.
The recognition was a funny one because like you sort of look at positions 1 through 12, and you find that AA, BB, CC, DD, like it cascades as obviously the player one, like the winner, is always going to have the recognition of A, you would imagine. And I found that nearly all the leaderboards kind of had that.
Yeah.
So it's a strange score, and it's a strange metric to have, especially when everything's a numerical value. On this one, it's just like, nope, we're gonna do letter grading.
Yeah, because I think it was this game. Cardinal went ballistic because he had a higher damage, more KOs, less respawns than the guy who finished ahead of him.
Yeah.
And he was going bananas in the group chat. Why is this? This makes no sense.
We need to have an in with Sony and see how if they we know they're listening. We obviously know that they're listening to the podcast. So we need to get someone on to clarify how the scoring works.
Yeah, how the scoring works, because I've no idea.
What's their algorithm? We need to know the algorithm.
Yeah. I'm presuming recognition is something important, but I don't know is the honest answer.
Hey ho.
But as we were saying, 2 mini leagues have developed here. Me versus Cardinal, you versus Sherry. We're drawn in our mini league, so there's 2 real leagues to finish up here. So let's get back into game 3. And game 3 is going to be another Carnado, because this is what the game does. It just alternates between the 2 game modes that it has.
I could have sworn that there was a third game mode, but apparently not. Maybe I've just assumed that Mayhem was split into 2 different versions then, but there we are.
I don't know, mate. I have absolutely no idea. I don't believe so. The only 2 I ever played in was Carnado and Mayhem. But the single player stuff, well, the bot battles, because the single player stuff is paywalled.
Exactly, yeah.
Here's some missions. Oh, by the way, we need premium currency in order for you to unlock these. It's madness.
But I did really think that even the offline mode I thought was just as entertaining, because like I just ramped the AI up to the hard difficulty and just went, right, that's as good as a mid-tier player then.
Yeah.
And you can have just as much fun on your own, basically, with a bunch of computers, because they don't sit and shout and curse about your mother.
Like, just imagine the fun you could have in those single player modes if you could invite your friends. But no,
I know, that's it. A closed lobby would be excellent, but there we are.
Make it happen. It's been cried for. People have been crying for it since 2021 on Reddit and stuff. It's just mad how they just ignored what the people want. There must be some reason for it. There must be some reason, but they just can't turn off XP or something. It has to be. But anyway,
now,
this game.
Just looking at this map as well. I think this map
it's a different one.
definitely, but it's different again. But I think this is the most different looking of the maps. This actually had a more organic feel for this game mode specifically, because
Do
it
you
had
think?
like, I think because it had a few ramps and jumps, and obviously like this middle, they have this,
Yeah.
they have the tornado in the middle, and they have these two big ramps on either side, and I think that's what they're gearing you up to do, is to take a load of damage, do a bit of a handbrake turn, and then just
fly off
catapult
the
you,
ramps. Mhm.
into the middle, which I think I'm about to do now, but my car's not powerful enough, so there's a bounce before I do it.
I mean, I think I said it when we were playing this, is that I thought this game mode reminded me of Riggs, the VR game from Guerrilla Studios. It's
Okay.
basically basketball with massive mechs, and it was awesome. But it suffered from the same thing as this, was there just wasn't enough. Well, there wasn't enough players because it was a VR only game, but there just wasn't enough variety in the game itself, and it struggled too, but not to the extent of this.
Yeah, I'm just watching there. Cardinal has had a stack of cogs and then got wiped out in his vehicle, so he had to start from scratch.
That's minging, isn't it?
I know. I've noticed as well that the HUD slightly changes when you're on foot, and you can only accumulate like 5 gears on foot then. So
Yes.
I think obviously the game is trying to prompt you to stay in your car or be in your car as much as possible. But
yeah. On foot, you can pick up like these pink gems, and it does something. Not too sure what, but
I think it helps build I think it builds up your gauge for your personal car.
Quite possibly, yeah, that makes sense, wouldn't it? But yeah, it's just a strange wee game. It's a likable game, and it's not dreadful by any stretch of imagination. It's a 7 out of 10 game all day long, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Isn't it?
No,
Absolutely.
I did have fun with it, and I think if it can be lent into more, friendly play, I would keep this on the hard drive, absolutely, and I would play this probably more often. I think it deserves it. But
I deleted it for space.
Yeah, the flip side is that they're not going to put the time into it. They're not going to patch it or fix it or make any sort of updates to it. So we're just going to have to grit and bear it, really, that way.
Yeah, the game now is the game. This is it. This is as good as it's ever going to get. But yeah, so right now, I'm not too sure. It's looking like I'm actually winning this one. No, I'm second behind Sherry. So I'm second behind Sherry. Let that sink in. But Sherry had some struggles there of his own. He got knocked out and stuff like that. So he's in his character car now, whereas I'm being punched by someone. I didn't even know you could punch in this game, but there we go.
Yes. So you can duck out the way with circle, and then you can square, which just shoulder charges. But you have to be basically touch tight to them for that to do anything. And all you do is just lose your bits that you've accumulated. So
yeah. I am flying here trying to get a car, and I can't. Struggle massively.
Yes, this last minute, I found it was impossible to get a car in any game mode, to be honest. And then again, this whole thing that everyone's grouped into one section of the map just kind of happens.
Yes, and it benefits me greatly because I've just got my character car, and I've started my wreckage magnet, I think it was called, where you can just wreck people and get armor for your car, but then I've just destroyed my character car by accident.
It took me a while to figure out, and I don't think I did it as much in these game modes as well, where it nearly prompts you to like catapult yourself out of the car, then prompt all of your stuff outside of the car, and then launch yourself back into your vehicle again. So I think it does try to have this free running like ability, but we're probably not as clued in to do that then. But I think you need to put time into it, I think, to kind of figure out and make it a big smoother flowing process.
Yeah, you get out of it what you put into it, don't you? It's the same as everything. You get what you put into it is what you get out of it. And right now, we're looking at the final tables of Game 3. And it makes for some very interesting reading, Tomahawk, so it does. So,
absolutely.
At the end of Game 3, Sherry has placed first. I have placed second. Tomahawk, you have placed third. And Cardinal has placed last. So yeah, so at the end then of these three, what we have done is we have taken everyone's average position of us four, and we're disregarding everyone else, and everyone has an average position then, which means that Sherry, who finished first, second, first, has an average position of 1.5. Tomahawk, you finished second, first, third, which gives you an average position of second. Cardinal finished third, fourth, which gives him an average position of fourth. And then finally, me, I came fourth, third, second, which gives me an average position of 2.5. Which means
Good rally.
Which means it was a wee late one. Yeah, I think I beat you by a single point in that last round.
It was in fact a single point. I think it was
it is
67 to 66. Yeah, very close.
It is 1 point, and at one point in that game, I accidentally drove too close to the Cardinal and deposited one.
Your single gear.
The single gear that took it from you and give me
that's it.
The single point. Yeah, so then that means then this is how we're going to give the points out this week. So we're going to have points for first, second, third, fourth, just the normal points. There's no bonus points or anything this week because we couldn't think of a fair way of giving it bonus points. So first this week, getting 3 points is Sherry. Sherry is officially going to be in double digits. That is
Things
incredible.
You love to see, yes.
I love to see it. I love to see it. In second place is you, Tomahawk, picking up 2 points. I am in third place, picking up a single point, which means Cardinal picks up the 0. He's come fourth. That last game, he wasn't happy about it. But you know what? I don't care.
No, that's it. Do you know what? Though? That's 2 fourth places in 3 weeks. So
Yep. And he's Mr. Consistent. So
that early lead is starting to.
Oh, it's gone.
It's big gone. Wobble, big wobble now.
It's gone. Is it temporary? Is it a worry of form, or is it a decline of power? It could be either or. Only time will tell. I think we could be watching the decline, the slow, inevitable decline of Cardinal _Smith_, and I live for it.
Loved, yeah. We crave this is like our blood. Podcast is our leader and current champion fall off the top spot.
And once again, Cardinal has finished with 0 points, and look where he is. He's not here anywhere but the podcast. This man has no accountability for anything. When he wins, he's here all pod. When he comes last, he's never here for talking afterwards.
He's
after the challenge.
Social engagements. He's other things on. Who are these convenient
the
excuses?
And he should be embarrassed, because if I came fourth in Destruction Allstars, you wouldn't see me again. I'll be locked in a room crying. That could be what Cardinal is. Cardinal, it's okay not to be okay. We still love you, and we're here for you. Sherry, if you ever return. If Sherry ever returns. I love the way Sherry just plays the games. It's like,
I'll see you next week.
And I say play the games. There was a point last week where he wasn't actually playing e-football. He put the controller down.
Man, no, the man will check out when he's ready to.
He will be ready sooner rather than later.
I'm really looking forward to this. Now that usually the grudge chips are eyes cash in.
Mm-hmm.
You've told him it's happening.
Oh, it's happening.
It's now a time and a place, really.
I'm just deciding on the game.
I think
just deciding on
one-on-one e-football. Just hash it out.
I'm not downloading it again. I'm not going to inflate Konami's download numbers here. Let's not go crazy. No, they don't deserve it. It'll be something else. I just don't know. What. I have a few ideas, but I want to pick the perfect game and get the perfect challenge, and then that'll be Kush Day, as they say. But anyway, the league table, the updated league table as a result of Destruction Allstars is looking. It's not looking great for me. It's certainly not looking good for Sherry. It's not even looking much better for Cardinal, but it is looking good for you, Tomahawk.
Well,
I'd
love to see this.
Here's the leaderboard. In first place with 25 points is you, Tomahawk. In second place with 20 points is Cardinal. Also in second place on 20 points is me. And then bringing up the rear, as always, is our rock solid foundation of the podcast, Mr. John Sherry. Or shall I call him Mr. Get Ready for a Grudge Chip? That's what I'm calling him from now on.
Fantastic.
So, yeah. So there is a bit of breathing space for you. Although there are a couple of games coming up that...
I know.
A couple of challenges coming up with big points.
Hope.
So we'll see how it gets on. It is a good showing from you this season, though.
I know, that's it. It was. I think my plan was never to finish below third.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's been. Sherry is very much where Sherry needs to be. We'll not touch on that too much, more than it needs to. But I thought, have to bring it this season. I started strong last year and tailed off. We've all been within a couple of points of each other now.
Yep.
We're just over the halfway point now. We sort of know what's coming up. I have confidence in at least 2, maybe 3 challenges. I have confidence going into them. There's 2 games coming up that I definitely know I will get 1, if not 0 points.
Okay.
So I'm nearly 100% confident I will finish bottom at least 2 challenges.
I don't know. Obviously, we know the games. I mean, it would be a ridiculous concept if we just picked a random game every week to play. We know the games. It's the same as last season. I think there's weeks where we're all expecting certain players to win, but I think if last season has proven anything, is even the best of us in our favorite games can have off days, and I don't think that will change particularly much this
season at all. I think just everyone's in for the cup, and everyone's in just not even for the cup as well. It's for that title. I think everyone felt robbed of it in season 1. I think everyone's really we'll say everyone has upped their game big time now. Yes, we do struggle to maybe get a time to get everyone together for the games, and this season particularly have had a lot of these challenges require all 4 of us at one time to play.
Yeah,
I still think we've brought it, and the quality of gaming has definitely increased.
I would say so. Unless we've all declined massively at the same rate. But yeah, I would agree. I think, yeah, it's 100% more competitive. The fact that we have John Sherry now double digits, episode
9
7
points off. Yeah, he's still 9 points off.
I mean, it's a couple of challenges. If he wins a couple of challenges. And there is a couple of games where he could potentially win it coming up. If he wins a couple of challenges, all of a sudden this league looks so different. And it's one eye in front, one eye behind for me personally. I'm sitting with joint second, but really third.
Yes.
And Sherry's
that hasn't really, I think because of an administration error from on. You've been third for a long time.
I've been third all season, I think, apart from 1 week where I was second. Yeah. Actually, last week I was sitting second until the challenge. But it is what it is. It is what it is. I mean, we always talk about Sherry and we always laugh about how he always comes last. But the thing about Sherry is he turns up for the games each and every week.
He does exactly brief doing the course in reverse and Wipeout. But we're past that. We look past that and we have to agree. He shows up and does the games.
It's easy to turn up and play the games when you're winning. It's not so easy to turn up and play the games when you're not winning. And Sherry's not winning more often than not. But here, it is what it is. Sherry will be back. I've no doubt he will pick up points and he will put the pressure on. But by that time, I'm hoping it's between him and Cardinal rather than him and me.
Fingers crossed. That's it. I said this a couple of. I just Love has always been the big competition. He's the Cardinal. You can kind of know he's going to go in ebbs and flows.
Mm-hmm.
This being your brainchild, essentially, I'm like, put as much distance as you can between Luvva, because he will storm up the leaderboard at any given moment. Like, fair enough, the games the way they're falling, but again, we know what's coming up. I have a feeling that there's one game I'm thinking of.
Mm-hmm.
You're gonna walk away with, absolutely.
Don't know.
I think you're gonna walk away with it because everyone else can't be bothered with it.
Yes. And it's honestly my favorite challenge this year. I think it's a cracker. It is a wee bit
I still don't understand it. I must have asked about 3 times what it is. I'm like, I don't think I get it. But that's another couple of weeks from now.
It's a really good challenge. Make sure you're in for that one. It's coming up. Maybe not next, but it's coming up. But yeah, I think that's all we need to say, really, isn't it? Sherry has the potential to come back. He's picking up points. He's won more challenges this season than he won last season. I think that's his 3rd win.
We've got
season?
Titan. He's had Titanfall, Destruction, and blank.
Maybe not. I thought he has 1-3, but we'll delve into the annals of high scores, high stakes history, and we'll confirm that next week. We'll confirm that next week. So that means if we've dried the well of Destruction Allstars in this week's challenge, then that means that the only thing we can do is go to the wrap up.
Yes.
And that is that. Tomahawk. Episode 7, Season 2 is wrapped up. The league table is looking very, very, very nice for you. Not so nice for any of the rest of us, but
I'll take it. 5-point gap, though. That's it means nothing at this stage, to be honest. But I'll take it. I'll take my time in the sun. It's nice. I know how you felt most of last season. Now it's
nice,
good.
isn't
It's
it?
a good feeling.
It's a motivator as well. You start playing games earlier and stuff than everyone else, and you want to stay there. You want to stay there. You have something to lose now, because we've hit over the halfway point, and now you have something to lose.
Absolutely, and it's not even to say that a win a win increases that gap, but a win increases the gap, but still leaves the door open. There's still like, all intents and purposes, you still got like another 15 points to play for. Really?
What? At least.
At least.
At least.
That gap could close up quickly.
There is more than 15 points available. I can tell you that now. I can assure you of that. There is more than 15.
I'm excited. I'm so.
And speaking of being excited, do you know what I'm excited for?
Let's hear it.
For the listeners to get involved with the conversations of High Scores,
Absolutely.
High Stakes all over the socials. So where can you find us on the socials? Well, first things first, if you're listening to this or watching this and you're liking what we're doing, then the simplest and easiest way of supporting this podcast is by doing the polls and doing the Q&As that are on Spotify's descriptions. If you just click on there, you'll see them. The Q&As are usually something about making the podcast better, what do you like, what do you not like, that sort of stuff. The responses are, if we get any at any stage, it will inform us of what parts of the podcast you like, what parts you don't like. So if you have any feelings, what you do like, what you don't like, on Spotify, they're in the description. If you're not subscribed to Spotify, if you go to anchor.fm/high scores, high stakes, you can answer the Q&As and the polls there as well. It is the easiest, simplest way of supporting us. If you also, whilst you're there in Spotify /anchor, if you like, follow, subscribe to the podcast, give us a wee star rating. You don't have to write a review. Even just a wee star rating will do lovely. I don't know what it does, but it does something. And big podcasts ask for it, so am I. I'm not above it. And whilst you're in the mood for getting the word about High Scores, High Stakes, why not share the podcast with your mates or your family or anyone else who you think might like the podcast? The more eyes and ears we get in the podcast, the better for everyone.
Start
we
to
can do more.
chime up that top 100. The algorithm.
Chime.
The
I love the way
on our
in this world we're in the top 100 and we want to go up the 100.
I mean,
Please
I mean
make us
the
chart.
100 million, obviously.
Oh
but,
yeah, yeah. That's
Top
right. Yeah,
100 sounds cooler though.
it does. It does. Do you know what sounds cool? Taking part in the challenges of high scores, high stakes, and putting your high scores in
Yes.
our Discord server. The description is in the link below. There's a whole heap of rooms. If you know you can beat us in one of the challenges, run it, take a screenshot, and upload it onto the Discord server. There we have leaderboards and stuff. It's good crack. And there are a good few people in there as well at the minute. It's
Yes.
good.
We
There's a
have
couple good banter.
we have the what are you playing section now,
Ooh,
which
forgot about that.
to be honest has just been a lot of people questioning my decisions in the quarry and whether or not I'm doing it on purpose. So
Yeah, so
yeah.
get yourself over to Discord. It is the best place to engage in conversations with us and also with other people who listen to the podcast. Fans, I suppose they're called. It's a simpler way of putting it. Well,
Sounds weird. I don't like it.
it sounds a bit cocky. Oh, come on, talk with other fans. But
Just
yes,
other like-minded individuals, I think is the best way to describe it.
as I said, I have never learned how Discord servers work or what the web address is, but the link is in the description of this episode.
I
It
just follow
always
what
is.
other podcasts do. They all have a Discord. They all talk about stuff. I think the one thing I realized that we don't do is have a channel about animals and pets because that seems to get traction and noticeability. Is that a word? Yes.
Yes,
It is a word.
it is now.
Perfect.
It is now. Discoverability. Also, on top of Discord, on top of all the other stuff, we're on Twitter or X, whatever it's being called. So we are H Scores, H Stakes. Just find us there. We do lots and lots of stuff there. We do memes. We do just general conversation about games. We also do This Day in PlayStation, which is when we delve into the pages of history of PlayStation, pick a game for a day, and then just try to generate some conversation about that game. It's really good crack. Really active there as well. In fairness, Twitter is really active, so get over there, follow us, and join in the conversations there as well. We're also on Instagram. Insta is full of a lot of league updates, a lot of snippets of parts of the podcast that you may have heard, some you may not have heard, might be a wee bit of outtakes. There's a whole heap of like short form videos there. A lot of work goes into the Instagram. It is really, really worthwhile following. So we are on Instagram.com/high scores, high stakes podcast. High scores, high stakes podcast. So follow us there. It's really, really worth it. It's a really good crack. There's a lot of again, fans there as well, chatting with us as well. It's good crack. Really, really worth a follow.
Good interaction with other, again, other like-minded people who just want to talk games and talk nonsense about games and stuff as well. So
that's it. If that sounds good to you, get over there and follow us. We're also on TikTok, again, short form videos, a lot of stuff you may have heard, a lot of stuff you may not have heard, a lot of like little snippets of the podcast. We're also on YouTube, so if you are listening to this and you don't subscribe to Spotify and you want to watch the video podcast, get yourself to YouTube. It's youtube.com/high scores, high stakes. There it's every episode, and there's a whole heap of shorts as well there. Lots and lots of content on that, and lots of content still to come for it. And then finally, if you fancy watching the High Scores, High Stakes boys, but live and playing video games rather than just talking about them, then get yourself over to twitch.tv/high scores, high stakes. You'll never see all four of us there together, nor will you find a set schedule for the streams. Basically, what will be is one of us playing a game of our choice. It could be a game we just like playing, a game we think will make a good streaming game, or it could be a game that we are practicing for a future challenge. It's all there on Twitch. So twitch.tv/high scores, high stakes.
I'm excited about getting the Twitch up and running now. I think we've talked about what we might play and what's up and out there potentially. We know Cardinal is going to play a racing game. He'll play Gran Turismo 7 until his eyes fall out. But
that's it. I've done a few test streams, just testing the system, making sure there's no gremlins in the machine. There are none now. So
Happy
we are
days.
good to go.
It's
but
going
as
to
I
be a
said,
very much
as and when. It'll be
Be
nothing
a-
more than that.
there'll be a funky roulette wheel, and on the day you'll find out who's going to be streaming. It's going to be
That's
fun.
it. It'll be a good crack. Make sure you're following us so you can get the wee notification whenever we do go live and then join in the crack. And speaking of, you said there we'll have a wee roulette wheel so you can find out who the streamer is that day.
Mm-hmm.
Well, speaking of finding out, let's let the listeners find out what the challenge game is going to be next week.
That is right. Again, we're bringing these segments in, and I'm forgetting. It's a good thing that I'm not the host.
It really
This
is, mate. See this?
We'd have signed off 10 minutes into the record. I'd be like, right, I suppose we played a game. I won. Goodbye.
Goodbye. Content. So next week's challenge game is the little known, but it deserves better because it's a cracking little puzzle game. The puzzle game that came out with PlayStation 4 years ago. It is Pix the Cat. And the challenge is going to be very, very simple. It's going to be 5-minute game mode. Highest score wins. Easy.
Looking forward to it. Pex Cats. I
Phenomenal.
remember, yeah, cannot beat that. I think it's one of those games that I stayed on my PS4 up until it died, and then I just ported it to the PS5, and I haven't deleted it since. I can't say I play it very often, but when I do go, it's just great. It is. It's a funky wee funky wee puzzler. Just great wee music. Yeah,
it's amazing. It's just great music, great graphics, great gameplay. It's just a really, really good puzzle game. If you haven't heard of it before, do yourself a favor. Get on YouTube, type in Pix the Cat. It's great. It's a mix of Pac-Man and Choo Choo Rocket with a little bit of Dig Dug in there too. It's just a spectacular, spectacular game. Deserved much more recognition when it came out. And if we can't give it recognition in 2014, the least we can do is give it some recognition in 2023.
exactly.
So Pix the Cat, 5-minute high score challenge next week. And that leaves us with just one more thing to say. And that is, I've been Mr. Luvva. This has been High Scores, High Stakes. See you Monday. Love y'all. Bye.
Ciao.